So today the plan was to talk about the upcoming London card, Alexander Volkov versus Tom Aspinall, which is on March 20th. It's pretty interesting over in London, right? Like they've been stuck in the US for a long time in Abu Dhabi, and now they're going to branch out to London. Kind of wishing that you could get old Michael Bisping out of the woodwork and bring him out and maybe get him to fight a one-eyed fight against Dan Hardy. Dan Hardy puts the eye patch on and to make it fair, and then they go at it. You know, that'll bring a few fans.
Man, how long has Dan Hardy been talking about having a comeback fight for though?
But he just wants to handpick his opponents. So he says, he wants to fight Wayne Parr. That was before his last thing I heard him saying. He wanted to fight Wayne Parr in a caged Muay Thai fight. Unfortunately, he didn't get that because I'd like that fight better for Wayne Parr than I would the fight
much better
coming up. You know, the fight he's got coming up, I feel a bit worried about it. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Who he's fighting again? He's fighting one of the Filipino guys, a real good fighter. He actually Martin Nguyen knocked the guy out before with a well-timed overhand right, but I can't remember the guy's name.
Yeah, no, because he's is it Edward Foltang?
Foliang, yeah. Edward Foliang, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's a scary fight.
He's a real Sandler style fighter, so he does a lot of these like side kicks and he's good with the spinning back kick, spinning back fist, but he's strong, mobile, younger. So and he's got a lot of power too. I just worry about Wayne Parr in his prime. I think it wouldn't even be a worry for him in a Muay Thai fight. But the thing is, he's a bit past his prime. This guy's still probably got that power that he had in his last few fights. But yeah, be a little bit worried about him.
Yeah. So this guy's 46. I'm trying to think. I think I saw some of his fight. Oh no, I'm thinking of someone else. But yeah, still, I was thinking of the guy who beat Eddie Alvarez.
Yeah.
No, he lost to Eddie Alvarez. Someone else.
Yeah. Actually, did you ever see that Martin Nguyen fight with him, with Foliang? It's worth having a look one day, man. It's a beautiful knockout because he's very strong, man. You can see him powering up and landing some good shots, but they trained, like I talked to Fari Salievsky, and they trained to try and catch him on the spin because he does a lot of spin attacks. I said they were training even the night before, and he said he even heard.
I know which one. Yeah.
He did a back kick, just timed it perfectly with the overhand that he also hit that other Russian with and just like iced him. Pretty amazing.
Martin's got some good knockouts, and he's got that mad leg kick to like flying knee too.
Yeah. He's got some great reflexes too. Like you watch him, he's got great reflexes, great natural ability. For me, the only thing I think although like it's a difficult scenario, like do you become that fighter that, you know, fights for just to win, or do you be the fighter that's exciting, you know? And for him, I think he's turned into a more exciting fighter in a way. Like he takes it to the opponent and, you know, puts himself in their face. But if he really wanted to just win, I think he could probably step back a little bit, be a little bit more patient.
That more technical approach, eh?
Yeah, because he's got great reflexes, great counters. And I think in that, if he just stepped off just that little bit, he would be more successful, but at the same time, he wouldn't be as exciting. So it depends what he wants to be, right? What type of fighter he wants to be. Yeah. Just from his fights he lost, he was right in their face. He was doing really, really well and got iced a couple of times, but it was because he was right in their face. I think if you just step back, that half step back, just a little bit more patience, I think he could have taken him out with his natural ability and timing and that. But yeah, he put himself right in the mix, right in the danger zone, you know?
Yeah, and that's the game we play. Like it's an entertaining, like it's how he has so many good highlight reel knockouts, but like it's also how you get knocked out sort of thing by putting yourself in that firing line.
Yeah, man. You know, back to the London card, Alexander Volkov versus Tom Aspinall. It's an interesting one. Like it's a contrasting styles, man. Volkov super tall, more karate sort of kickboxing style. I feel like he's got a kind of different rhythm to him, you know, which is something that would play into his favor. Aspinall is a good jiu-jitsu player, great boxing. Kickboxing is good as well, but I would say his strength from what I've seen seems to be boxing and BJJ. So it's interesting because it's hard to find someone, for me, when I just think about these two together, it's hard to find someone that's going to emulate Volkov. First of all, his height and everything, and then his timing, because you watch him, he's slightly offbeat as well. And that can catch people a little bit. But then Tom Aspinall's got a lot of natural talent. He's so fast for a heavyweight, right? Like he's super slick with the hands, super slick movement, fast in and out, so relaxed. So it's a very interesting stylistic matchup, eh?
Oh, definitely. It's a main event for a reason, especially in London. Like you said, so pretty much like the last one. So before that, yeah. So since 2015, Volkov's only lost to Derek Lewis, which he was winning for like 24 minutes. Curtis Blades, he just got pretty much out wrestled that fight, if I remember correctly. And then Cyril Gane, who just fought for the belt. And like, let's be real, nobody really expected Volkov to beat sort of Cyril Gane on the feet in a pure striking matchup, if that's how it's going to play out. And it's how it did. And you got Tom Aspinall was like on a run since 2016, and he just like beat, probably his best win was I would say, even though Arlovski's a bit older, Arlovski's the most notable. Sergey Spivak is still a good sort of win, but I think Arlovski's that sort of bit more of that step up name value, and he got the good submission win. I think Tom Aspinall is going to need to make it more of like a MMA fight. I think he's going to need to like chop the legs early, and he's obviously going to have the sort of reach. Assuming he has the shorter reach.
Yeah, it's reach is 203 centimeters for Volkov, 198 centimeters for Aspinall.
Yeah, so about 2.5 inches. But also Volkov's taller, so he also has the advantage of punching down. He's good with his long front kicks, so I think Aspinall needs to chop his legs. And he needs to sort of stay all the way on the outside, out of that range. He can't really drift into that kicking range, or he needs to be all the way in, looking to punch, looking to clinch, throw them elbows, and sort of look for takedowns and that sort of thing. But Volkov's had, 43 professional MMA fights, and Tom's only had 13. So there's a big experience gap in sort of, fights they've had as well.
Yeah, Aspinall was saying something interesting. He's saying, like, you look at footage of Volkov, you can see everything. Like, it's very clear what Volkov is as a fighter because he's had 43 fights. You can see everything. He said he's only been in there for a short time, right? Because every fight he has, he's like finishing people so fast. He had 11 wins, 9 knockouts, and 2 subs, So there's not a lot to look at him. He said there's so much more to him than you can see in the footage, that he's got so much more to give in a fight that people don't know yet. And that's kind of the surprise factor that we don't have. And for sure, you can see Volkov. You can see what he is. You can see what his plan will be. I'd say from my perspective, I think Volkov's going to come out. He's going to start chopping the legs, using the jab, using that front kick you mentioned, and just keep him away and try and wear him down. Aspinall hasn't been into the later rounds. He wants to take him to the later rounds because that's how he's won before. And he's got quite a high decision ratio. He's a lot of KOs for Volkov, but he's got 9 decision wins out of 34. So it's quite a high ratio. I think that'll be what he'll be working towards, is come in long, straight, keep him away, use that reach advantage, and let's not engage in BJJ. I think he's got a chance of actually doing that. But Aspinall's that little X factor. Like, how good are his reflexes? When you saw him against, what was that, Spivak, was it? He did like a knee elbow combination off the break, or I think it was like sort of off a break, and it was just beautiful. And I think his timing and speed, you see how plodding and slow and methodical Volkov is. Aspinall can explode very fast, and if he can, like, if they do engage in that close range, I think you could get him on a counter, right, on a fast counter, because that's one of his strengths, is he explodes into a counter or a slight separation, explodes. And I don't think Volkov has the speed to, like, evade that. But yeah, it's a difficult fight to really pick, I think.
Yeah, like you can see this fight playing out where the way I sort of see it going is, if Volkov can get out probably out of the first 2 rounds, I think he could establish sort of a few, like, established leads with like jabs, front kicks, establish some counters when Aspinall tries to come in, work like good cage craft, like backing up, cutting angles and everything like that. But then again, like, Aspinall, all he needs is that sort of one shot. And I think if he can work the takedowns early and start to fatigue Volkov, the longer the fight goes, it might work out more in his favor. But then again, we haven't seen has Aspinall been out of? I thought he's been in one. No, I don't have it up, but I'm assuming he probably hasn't been in the full 15 minutes into the UFC yet. Whereas Volkov has plenty of that 25-minute sort of main event experience sort of thing. So it's also, I know at that level it's probably not too much, but you got to think Aspinall fighting in front of his home crowd in London, main event, it's a big step up. Like, there's a lot of pressure on him. And sometimes we do see like Till versus Masvidal, perfect example. Like, everybody is favoring Till, like it's gonna, like, he's versing this old veteran sort of thing where he should just get through him sort of thing. He might have a few hurdles, but he should get through him at the end of the day pretty comfortably. And then Masvidal came out and sparked him sort of thing. So I don't think we might see the same thing, but I think we could possibly see like Volkov get that sort of more slower pace, really controls the tempo of a fight and get that sort of long drawn out decision.
Yeah, Tom's got like a kind of interesting story too. Like his father's a a martial artist as well, and he's come up through that learning boxing. He's done kickboxing as well. He's a black belt in BJJ. He teaches BJJ. He's done wrestling. I think he's competed in wrestling. He's won some British Open in BJJ. I think he's won like all the belt divisions on his way up, but not yet in black belt. It said somewhere. And yeah, it's kind of interesting, right? He's one for the future. And I'd love to see him get in tight with Volkov and take him down so he can demonstrate, his BJJ skills. But can he do that? Because Volkov's pretty tight. He's got good takedown defense. You see a lot of people trying to take him down unsuccessfully. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly right. Like, I think it's going to be a hard matchup. And like you said, I think Aspinall's going to need to bring everything with him. He's going to need to be all the way in, all the way out. He's going to need to chop the legs. He's going to need to use his fake. He's going to need to use the cage and sort of use everything. Where if he just tries to stand in the middle and sort of have that kickboxing fight, or he even just might try and throw a few kicks, but he's more just looking for Volkov's chin, trying to crack it. If he comes out and does that, I don't think it would sort of be his smartest strategy. I think he needs to mix in the level change looks, start to get Volkov dropping his hands, or even if he shoots 2 or 3 takedowns early, gets Volkov at least committing to defend them, and then he can start coming up over top with punches. He can catch him that way as well.
Yeah, man. And because this one is a little bit difficult to pick, and I would say logically you'd probably go with Volkov, but I want to see the new guy in town. I want to see him get a off the counter, off some sort of clinch, quick counter, elbow, knee, whatever, and take him out. And let's see the new kid on the block and how he goes. I like to see him get up there and fight some of the top dogs to see how he goes. That's kind of wishing, because I feel like I'm kind of sitting on the fence a bit with who will take it. But I think logically Volkov would take it out due to his experience and ability to keep him away with his long jab, front kick, and leg kicks and that. But I would like to see Aspinall win. What about you?
Yeah. Listen, I was just checking. Do you know what the odds are?
I looked like last week, and Volkov was a favorite, like a reasonable favorite. I think
it's dead even now. It's $1.90 for each of them. Dead even. That's what I think. Yeah. So my brain is thinking Volkov is just that crafty, is going to get it done. But then also I think Aspinall, my heart says Aspinall. So I'm going to go, I think Aspinall, and I think Aspinall is going to KO. I think he's going to really, hoping he's really going to make a statement in London in front of his home crowd sort of thing and get it done.
Yeah, man. Let's have a look at the next one. So we look at Arnold Billy Allen versus Dan Hangman Hooker. Now, I'm not a Hooker fan, obviously, with a nice picture of Hangman behind me. So, yeah, I'm a bit of a Hooker fan, so I'm kind of biased, but I see Dan taking this one based on his experience and his huge reach advantage, man. It's crazy. So he's got a 13 centimeter reach advantage and a height advantage of 10 centimeters as well. It just seems massive, especially for someone that works behind their reach very well and is a technical fighter. I think we talked about it a bit before. I think they're both it's going to be an interesting striking match. Let's see if the wrestling gets brought in by Allen to try and negate Dan's reach and striking skills. What do you think will happen, man?
Man, it's going to be good to see Dan back at featherweight, because the dude's it was a killer there before. Then obviously went to lightweight, made his run. He's back down at featherweight. It's going to be interesting to how we see. I think Arnold Allen's a good, hard matchup for him, because it's sort of like, no disrespect, but it's sort of like for Islam matchup, except not with the exact same pedigree of grappling. Whereas Arnold will probably I think Arnold knows he can't really look to keep the fight on both feet the whole time. He's going to start to look for the takedowns. And like we said with Danny, we know he has the knees and the upcuts and everything. But the difference factors is Arnold's a lot more he grabs and he controls instead of actually hunting for the sub. So I think, like, if it was a guy who, once he hits the ground, he gets finishes straight away, it's a hard matchup once you get him down. But Arnold Allen more looks to hold and sort of slows down and stores him out. Whereas I think that favors Dan, because Islam got him down, controlled it, and he's got to the sub straight away. That's just what Islam does. But Arnold doesn't have that style. So I could see him possibly getting some takedowns, but I also see Dan getting up and scrambling a lot more effectively than he did in the Islam fight.
I think he's going to treat him a bit like Nasrat, to be honest. I think Allen will be moving around the cage. Dan will be controlling the center, using that length to push him towards the cage and then attacking. Also, Dan and the CKB guys feint a lot. They use feints a lot and leg kicks, and I think that'll be the start of it, because you watch Allen, he does react a lot to feints. So I see that Allen circling around away from Dan pinning him against the cage, and just working some hard strikes and slowly picking him apart. I think for Allen, the best thing you could do is somehow get a clinch against the cage. He seems to work pretty well from there. Potentially take it to the ground, like you said, control. A bit of ground and pound, etc. But can he do it? That's the question. Dan's no sucker. He looks like a sucker when he fights someone like Makachev last time, but that was just unlucky. I think he's got a good enough skill set that he can hang with anyone, really. Just that case he didn't. But I really like to see Dan take this one and restore his confidence after the last fight, and get a nice win against I think he's unbeaten in UFC, right? He's done really well. He's 18 fights,
yeah.
So yeah, definitely an up and comer. It'd be cool if Dan stuffed his rise, and take over his hype,
Yeah, I think that's the problem with Allen, because besides obviously the hardcore UK fans, then the like Aussie and New Zealand fans, there's not a lot of casual appeal from like the American and all that sort of audience for Arnold Allen, which is a shame, because he's a very good technical fighter, but it's just his style. People don't like to see, they don't like to see sort of almost like a Covington without the pace, where he's just relentless. He's just going to stay on you with nice straight punches, clinch you up, try and get you down, and just sort of win rounds that way, sort of thing. Obviously, if he was finishing people, there'd be a lot more hype around him, but the odds are dead even again with this fight. So it's pretty sort of, I guess you would say it's a pick and fight, but I would have to favor Dan purely the experience. So I think he's just going to, like you said, he's going to hold the center. He's going to show lots of low level looks, like lots of low kicks, lots of jabs to the bodies, fake the knees, fake the uppercuts. And also I think the biggest factor is that even though Dan has a good takedown defense, I think if Arnold gets him down, he won't be able to hold him down. I think Dan's still going to scramble up, and I think that's going to sort of drain Arnold Allen's sort of morale in that, and sort of be like, fuck, what, I can't keep this guy down, what else do I have to do, sort of thing. And Dan's been in them gritty dog fights before and that. So I think the longer the fight goes, the more I'll favor Dan. And I wouldn't be surprised if even Dan gets like a late finish, like third round finish or something like that. If he can really shut Arnold Allen down. Arnold Allen hasn't fought anyone on Dan's level yet, so it could be like a little bit too soon, or we could look like idiots and he comes out and does the exact same thing, and we're like, fuck, this Allen's pretty legit, sort of thing. But I'm thinking more Dan's gonna get that gritty decision, or even possibly finish him in the third round.
Yeah, I'm thinking down on points, but I kind of just imagine him against the cage, working what he works, which you can potentially get a knockout, but against an unbeaten guy or not beaten for a long time, it's a big ask as well. So on to Paddy Pimblett versus.
I had one quick fight, just fantasy came to my head when we were talking about Arnold Allen. No, it's not. It's from last week's card. Who would you reckon? Bryce Mitchell and Brian Ortega. How do you reckon that would go?
Bryce Mitchell, Brian Ortega. Well, Ortega's a ground fighter, right? That's his strength.
Yeah.
So that'd be an interesting one, but I don't think. I'm like a hater, man. I'm a hater. I swear I thought Bryce Mitchell was going to get smashed last week.
Oh, really?
And for the first minute it was working exactly like I thought for 1 minute. And then for the rest of 14 minutes, it was like a disaster, man. That was one of my parlays, bro. So
I really?
got destroyed. Yeah, I got destroyed, or it will still be going this week, which I also had, what's the name? Aspinall in the parlay as well. But yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, damn, that got ruined. But anyway, I'm a hater, so I think I would again think Ortega's gonna smash him and destroy him on the ground or whatever. But I could easily be wrong. What do you think?
I could see that fight happening down the line. Honestly, I don't know, because like Bryce just has that suffocating ground pressure and that sort of thing. But I think Ortega's gonna fight, I should say. And then so I guess the winner of that might fight Max or be up there in the top ranking, sort of thing. But I could see, like, if Ortega lost to Yair and then Mitchell gets another win, that could definitely be the fight to make down the line. And I'd just be interested to see it, sort of thing. But like, Ortega is so crafty with her submissions and that. But the biggest thing is we could see like after Volko got through his submissions, there wasn't a lot he was doing on the ground. There wasn't a lot of offense. He had them few Hail Mary moments where he's able to latch up the subs. But if you survive them, then the threat's still there, but he's nowhere near active. He's not actively looking to sweep. Like he's pretty content on just laying there on his back sort of thing, which I guess could favor Mitchell. So I don't know how it'd go. I hope we see this fight down the line sort of thing. I think it would be just a cool, or they might just stand on their feet for 15 or 25 minutes. They might not even grapple.
True. I think there's no real benefit for Ortega though, really, right? To fight Mitchell.
No, not at this point. Nah. Bryce is, what's Bryce now? Just 10, I think.
Yeah, something like that. Hey, like I mentioned to you before, I'd love to see Khamzat and Makhachev, man. I know there's no chance they're probably going to pit those two against each other, but I'd love to see that, man. The confidence of Khamzat, just to see, is he really that big a deal? That'd be a massive matchup for him, eh?
A 172, yeah.
Well, he says he can fight everywhere, right? And that's not even above that's even below some of the weights he reckons he can take. So, yeah, why not? Just put them together. Real test.
I think this Burns fight's going to be the real, like, all right, where's his ceiling? Like, if he goes out and does Burns, I'm like, fuck, I might chuck my name against Usman, just bet on him. But if it gets like how I think it's going to go, it's going to be that hard sort of dogfight. Yeah. Then I'll be like, oh, all right, yeah. So he does belong in the top 5, top 3 sort of thing. But I don't think he's that elite guy who's just going to has that. He's not going to do the McGregor at featherweight where he just ran through everyone and like knocked all his opponents out sort of thing.
Yeah, bro. Hey, so that one that I touched on before, the Pimblett versus Vargas, man. Did we talk about that before? I can't remember if I talked with you.
Yeah, we did. Yep.
Yeah. So on that one,
it's a bit of a gimme for Paddy.
We think it is, yeah. I was watching Vargas today though, like this morning, just watching a few of his other fights, and he's a reasonable competitor. Like it's not like he's fought in the UFC. They're not just bringing him in fresh, like like that Motinho that came in. He's not just a fresh guy coming in with no experience. He's had a bit of a few fights there, and he's not a bum, but he's kind of like they say, he's at the end of his career. And he's no shining star, but he's got a basic all-round skill set, right? Like he's pretty tough though. Like it'll be a good test for Paddy, and they're going to bring him up the right way because they see him as a potential superstar, right?
Can you believe Paddy doesn't even have a Wikipedia for him?
Of course he would, bro. You don't think so? Do you know how to spell Pimblett?
No, well, it's not hyperlinked, if that makes sense. Like I'm on the UFC main card, and it's like they're all blue except poor Paddy. He might have Wikipedia, but they've done a terrible job of advertising it here.
It's not.
So I went to click on it.
Right.
I was like, what? Yeah.
See.
I was like, who would have thought?
It's got one in some other language, but it doesn't have it in.
Yeah. Strange.
It's got it in something like German or something like that only. That's weird, right? You'd think to start them, because you get a lot of people that are not that high up on Wikipedia, but someone has to go in there, tell his boys to go and write him up one, because anyone can write one, right?
Yeah, like I changed my thing on The Ultimate Fighter from striking coach to motivational speaker. And then I got an email saying it was false, and they changed it back.
You say, but I'm me. I am but you say, but I am Colby. I know what I am. I identify as a motivational
speaker. Well, it's like, if you say that false, striking coach is a bit false, but at least it looks good. So I'll keep it up there.
Yeah. Hey, funny. I just got a message 1 second ago from the Tarantula. So
Jalen.
Gonna have a chat one day. Seems like a good guy, actually. Like it was a terrible fight for Jamie. Like, of course, we all wanted Jamie to win, but he seems like a good guy. I watched a couple of interviews on him. He seems like a pretty good guy. Yeah.
Like he's not someone you lose to and you're like, oh fuck, why did I have to lose to that guy sort of thing? Like,
yeah, true.
Yeah.
At the same time, it was close. Like you could see either of them could have hurt, or they both did hurt each other, but either of them could have won, but it was going to be most likely a knockout in one of the first couple of rounds, the way they fought, they really gave it.
There's no way that fight was going to go for 15 minutes, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty sick fight. And you could see Jamie land some really good shots as well. It looked like in the first round he got hit with something that made him a little bit slow down. Do you think? Just looked like
I guess I can say, but yeah, he had he got a cracked rib or fractured rib. Yeah, a front kick got him and cracked his rib. That's why when he went down, I'm not sure if it was in the first round, but that's why when he went down the finish, even though that overhand got him, he was holding his rib because he had a fractured or cracked rib with it. Yeah, said it was a front kick that did it to him.
I'd like to, have a chat with him about that, because I really thought something happened in the first that made him change, because he just suddenly, I thought he got cracked and it just like maybe took his balance a little bit or something, but that would make perfect sense if he got a serious injury in the first that fucked him up, because it just seemed that way, that some edge was off that wasn't there in the previous fights, some problem. I thought it was something hit him and he was just a bit phased, but maybe it was that. Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, even when you saw him go down, like there was visible pain in his face, whereas like when he fought Brad or any of the other guys, like he's been hit with big shots and he's fine, he's tough, he just grits through him, sort of thing. Even when he's dropped, like there's no sort of, he's not sort of grimacing or anything like that. It's like just a clean shot and he's back to his feet. Whereas this one, he was like obviously in pain, sort of thing. And it turns out it was a rib.
Yeah, man, that's bad. That sucks. But back at it, he's got so much potential, man.
Bro.
You keep at the grind and get there. And at the end of the day, at that sort of level of the sport, you got to expect sometimes you're going to lose and sometimes you're going to win. And, anyone that steps in, especially at that high level, is already proven everything they need to prove to anyone. It's only about, doing what they want to do, proving things to themselves and, and getting their goals, and their goals that they want to achieve.
Yeah, exactly right. Like, once you're at that elite level, but UFC, you've pretty much, done more than anybody in like 99% of the people in the crowd talking shit about it could do, sort of thing. So like he'll be back, no doubt, sort of thing. Just was meant to come down sparring today actually, but that's how I found out he couldn't spar because he had the rib injury. So a couple of weeks he'll back, then he'll be straight back at it. Probably be down to help finish Volko. Finish
Volko. That's a bit hard. Before his fight. That's not a good thing.
Finish Volko week out from a fight. Just like a cheap shot him.
That's it. So back to Paddy for a sec. Paddy Pimblett, Rodrigo Vargas. We already talked about it. What are you still on the same thing? You think it's a give me? You reckon? How do you reckon he's going to take him out then, Paddy?
I reckon. Give us a quick. That's I was going to say. Give us a quick Google. How has Rodolfo been finished? Rodrigo, not Rodolfo. He's been.
She's got a couple of names. I saw different names of him on different.
He's got a submission decision disqualify. Well, he's got subbed, so I reckon he's going to get subbed. I think Paddy will sub him. I think Paddy will take his back and choke him out.
Yeah. Well, he has been working with the Padgician, as I mentioned last time, Chris Williams. So we'll be throwing heavy hands, bro.
I reckon he'll hurt him on the feet, and then finish him that way.
That's it. Use that Chris Williams boxing to take him down. Use his grappling skills to take him out completely. Perfect. I'm kind of thinking the same sort of way, but I'm excited to see Paddy, man. I want to hear him talking again. Like he hasn't been all over the media yet. I'm hoping this next week we'll see him talking a bit and running his mouth a bit, because he's a funny guy, right? Like he's
a character for sure
to the sport. And
he's good for the sport.
And 100% UFC and Paddy's management team would want to pick a fighter that they can beat. So they picked a little bit a 10-year-older guy that they think they can beat, and I hope he does it, because I want to see him keep fighting on and slowly progressing in a sort of smart way,
Yeah, exactly right. Like it's a smart thing. Fight in front of his hometown, UFC, third fight from the top. It's a good fight. They're giving him a guy who's tough, experienced, but he should still be able to, like, there's a route for Paddy to get the finish. So it's pretty much just sort of like giving him this fight, Paddy knows what he has to do to beat this guy. He just has to go out and execute it, sort of thing. What I'll do quickly is I'm going to make everybody rich again. So we're going to go Aspinall KO, Hooker KO, Pimblett by sub, and then we'll chuck in a Paul Craig submission upset.
Okay, I'm gonna put it on. If I remember, I'm just gonna put it on what you bet, and then I'm gonna blame you next week. The week after.
Unless you win, and then you're going to be like, "Can I have more tips, Colby?"
I'm gonna have no house left.
Yeah. I've heard if you lose, just double down, and you eventually catch up.
That's it. Yeah, that's how you roll, bro. Just keep doubling down.
50, put 100.
It's not that, bro. You got to do something in gambling. That's called the martingale. It's like a system that people play. The problem with that is that you hit the maximums and then you get fucked. But there's something called an advanced martingale. So you not only double it, but you add one. So if you bet 100, you bet 300. So that means the next time you're going to win 2 lots. So you actually won both rounds, you know what I mean? So you just can't lose. It's impossible. So instead of betting 100,000, then after Colby loses this one, we bet fucking 300,000 the next one, and then we'll catch it up for the loss as well as, you know, winning extra. That's how we roll.
I'm gonna go sign up to online poker right now with that advice.
I do, yeah, anything those black or reds or fucking like you can play roulette, baccarat. These ones are better. Poker's a bit trickier, bro. But blackjack, you could have a stab at it too. I'll teach you how to
I'll
lose
stick
your
to
money,
blackjack
bro.
then.
Yeah, blackjack's
I can
all
teach you how to lose money. I can't teach you how to win it though.
That's it. All right, bro. Cheers and catch you next week, eh?
All right, thanks for having me on.